Hi everyone, it's Miss McKinney. You may have already watched the first lesson that I did on the oo and the sounds. Now we're going to take that information and apply it to longer words. We practiced blending and reading lots of words that had those two sounds in them, and now we're going to take that and apply it to reading multisyllabic words or words that have more than one syllable. So if you all will look here, I have some single syllable words on this column of the chart. And all of these words we should be able to sound out and read based on what we did earlier today. So if I look at this word, I see d. I see the spelling right here. So that word is hood. Now, I already know this word is hood, so I can take what I know here and apply it to a new, longer word. This word, I already know this part. We just talked about it right here. So if I already know this, I've already got half of that word figured out. So all I would have to look at is the other half, or the other syllable of the word, syllables of the word. And if I needed to, I could sound those out and have old childhood. So this word is childhood. But when you think about, when you're looking at larger words and you think about what you already know, you can look into those longer words and try to use what you already know to figure out the whole thing. So let's look at this word here. I see a consonant blend. St, d, stood, stood. Okay, so now we're going to look at a word that has more than one syllable in it, but one of those syllables is this word right here. Here it is. So we already know this part, so all we have to do is figure out this part. And this is a word that you all may already know, but if you don't, we can sound it out. Understood, understood. So sometimes these longer words may be a little bit scary, especially if you're reading on your own and trying to figure things out, if you don't have an adult there to ask. But if you look for parts that you already know or can sound out, then you can use that to help you figure out the whole word. Let's look at this word here. I see fruit, fruit. Let's apply that to a longer word. There's fruit. So all I have to do is sound out these three little letters right here, which is a suffix. Full, fruitful. We know that full means lots of or full of. So if something is fruitful, it's got lots of fruit, or it's full of fruit. Let's look at this word. Gloom, gloom. Look at that. We already know this whole part of this word. Gloom. And we know that Y at the end of the word can either say I or E. So it's not gloom I. The word is gloomy. And so they've taken it and added a suffix, but because we already knew this whole thing right here, all we had to do was add one more sound to it. Okay? And then the last one is through. Now, we didn't get a chance to talk about this one. O-U-G-H is a different spelling that you'll see just every once in a while for the oo sound. It's not on our spoon card, but that is a word, and so, or is a spelling for oo. And look right here, through, and all you have right here is this word, out. So you put them together, and you have throughout. So that is how you can take what you know about single syllable words and apply it to multisyllabic words or longer words. Now I'd like to talk to you about something called roots. Roots are parts of a word that roots are parts of, they can stand on their own or they can be part of a word. We just talked about how we can use our knowledge of single syllable words to help us figure out and read larger words. Now we're going to take our knowledge of a root and use it to figure out what these other words are that contain the root. So if you look, I have the root word act. But look at all these different words that have that root word in it. So we have active, action, react, and actor. All of these words have the same root in common. And when you act, it's that you're putting something into motion or making a movement, or, like an actor, they're participating in a play. Okay, so that's an example. I'm going to slide this down. I want you to look at these two words. Company and companion. How many of you know what the word company means? So there are lots of different meanings for the word company. Two that come to my mind immediately are company like a business, that has to do with people running a business. And then also company as in a guest. Like your mom might say, oh, we've got to clean up the house, company's coming over. So that would be talking about a guest that you have. So, but either way, when you're talking about company, it has to do with people, whether it's people that have a business that's company, or company as in a guest, or if somebody is keeping you company, that means that they're entertaining you, they're keeping you so that you are not alone. Now, I want you to look at this word right here, companion, all right? You know that sometimes when we add a suffix to the end of the word, we change the spelling of the original word. So here we had to drop the Y to add the suffix here. So now we have companion, but it still has the same base word, company. All right? So a companion is a person that keeps you company. It's like a friend, somebody that you spend a lot of time with. See how those two words go together? Now, the next two parts, I want you to help me with. If I can get this down. All right. So I've got 3 words here, and we'll come down and do these in just a moment. And I have covered up the root word that they have in common. So if you look at these 3 words, you may have seen these before. We have creative, creator, and recreate. What do you notice about these 3 words that all of them have the same, that they all have the same thing in common? Bet you figured it out really quickly. They all have the same root word, create. Okay? This one, creative, we had to drop the E when we added the suffix "ive," and then we had to drop the E when we added our suffix "or" for creator. And on this one, we added a prefix, re. But all of them, whether we had to change the spelling of the base word or not, all of them have the same root word, create, which means to make something. Okay, so if somebody is creative, that's a person that likes to come up with new ideas and to make things. They might be really crafty or artistic. Creator is a person, someone who makes things. And if you recreate, that means that you've created it again. All right, now I'll slide this down. Let's look at 3 more words that we have. I want you to look at them very carefully and try to decide what the root word is that they all have in common. Writer, rewrite, typewriter. What root word do all of these have in common? If you said write, you are correct. And again, we had to change the spelling of some of these. So write, we had to drop the silent E to add the suffix "er." And the suffix er here means a person who. So a writer would be a person who writes. Okay, let's go back here to talk about the base word. We know what it means to write. It means to use some kind of pen, pencil, marker, something, crayon, to write, to create letters on a page, to make words and stories and things like that. So a writer is a person who writes. We added a prefix here, re, to rewrite. So rewrite means to write something again. So I know that sometimes during the writing process, you might have written down all of your notes and you've done a rough draft, and then when you're ready to publish it, you go back and you rewrite it so that it's very neat and appealing and people want to read it. Now this one here is a compound word, typewriter. A typewriter, some of you may not have heard of one of these before or seen one of these before, but Ms. McKinney is a little bit older than you, just a little bit, and a typewriter is something that we used before computers, and we would actually type letters on keys just like we do on the computer, except that instead of having to take it to the printer and print it out, the typewriter would actually, you would type it and it would put it directly on the paper in front of you. The one thing about that makes it difficult with a typewriter is that there's no backspace, so you have to be very careful with your typing, or else you may have to start all over again or figure out a way to get the incorrect spelling or letter off the page. Okay, so what I want you guys to do the next time that you see some words, look for a smaller word or a word that they may have in common. Think about what the smaller word means and use that information to help you figure out what the bigger word or the new word is. See you later.